Late nights in London, stealing flame. Apron tight, trying to earn her name. Claudia stands where the orders fly at the pass, where the seconds decide. A famous shadow, father's crown. Every plate says, don't let me down. She's past the age of maybe someday. This is the life she chose to stay. Every ticket's a test, every disavow. You don't dream it later, you live it now. Welcome to the past where the truth is clear. No room for doubt, no space for fear. You commit or crack, you rise or fall. This is the heat, this is the call. Hands are shaking, hearts on display. Who you are is what you serve today. Stand in between the past and the glass. This is the moment, but this is the past. Lisa by side, steady and real. Sous chef loyalty, forged in steel. Best friend knows when to push, when to stay, when to save a night from going astray. Bam, pour something sharp, something bright. Cocktails cutting through the long black night. They're all chasing something undefined, trying to outrun the ticking time. Not kids anymore, not brand new. Caught between who we were and what we do. Welcome to the past where the truth is clear. No room for doubt, no space for fear. You commit or crack, you rise or fall. This is the heat, this is the call. Ambition burns, expectations clash. Every dream leaves a scar or slash. Stand in between the past and the glass. This is the moment, this is the past. Judges stare, but the real fight's always been in there. Not the title, not the reviews. It's choosing the life you refuse to lose. No more waiting for better sign. No more blaming blood or time. Alley opens, the door swing wide. Every dish says, this is mine. Not perfect, not painless, but finally true. Built from the pressure she lived through. The future's loud, the past still calls, but she doesn't flinch when the next ticket falls. Welcome to the past where the truth is bare. This is who you are when you're standing there. Not a phase, not a dress rehearsal night. It's the life you play, the choice you fight. From the shadows into the flame at last. No turning back once the order's passed. And in between who you were and who you'll last. This is the moment, this is the past. Heat fades slow when the night's gone past, but the choice remains at the past.
Aloha, it's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing comic book creator Katriona Chapman. Now, she is here to talk about her latest graphic novel, The Past, from Fantagraphics. Now, this graphic novel is coming out on January 20th. I'm going to say, I think listeners, to be honest, I think when we're going to release this episode, this graphic novel will probably literally be hitting bookstores as this interview goes up. So, Katriona, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you, Jason, for having me.
No, thank you very much. So, thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview you. Now, listeners, before we begin, I just want to go over some of Katrina's works, and I've told Katriona, if I got some information wrong, she's feel free to correct me, or if she wants to add anything, I told her feel free to do that as well. Now, Katriona is the head of marketing for Avery Hills Publishing. She had published an 8-issue of a fanzine called Catzine that won the best ongoing series in the Broken Frontier Awards in 2017. I'm going to ask, do you want to add a little bit? What's that about, Katriona? The Catzine.
Yes. Well, I started my sort of creative career in children's book illustration, but I always wanted to make comics, but I didn't have any experience. And I had an idea for a book, but I felt like I needed to practice making shorter comics first. So I
Mhm,
started a zine, just an ongoing zine. And I think I put out an issue every 3 months or something. And it was just 24 pages
mhm,
each time. And it just allowed me to write short stories in comic form and practice kind of the form of comics and how and find a style that I liked and that I could draw quickly.
mhm. Okay, thank you. And then also, you have also done something called a graphic novel called Follow Me In. Again,
hmm
this is from Avery Hills Publishing. This is in 2018. Now, this graphic novel won again, and correct me if I'm wrong, you won another Broken Frontier Awards Best Graphic Nonfiction Prize in 2018. Would you like
Yeah.
to talk to let listeners know what this one is about?
Yes, so that one, my first book was autobiographical, which is why it won the non-fiction
Hmm.
in the Broken Frontier Awards. In case American listeners don't know, Broken Frontier is the UK's biggest sort of comics website. It's run by one really dedicated guy in the UK, Andy Oliver, and he just does all the UK comics coverage for sort of small independent comics like the ones that Avery Hill produce. So yeah, he has an annual awards, and I've been lucky enough to win some of those. But yeah, Follow Me In was a sort of autobiographical story of a trip I took around Mexico when I was about 24 years old. And it was about how I fell in love with the country. It was about the relationship I was in at the time. There were some problems with alcohol.
Hmm.
And it was about me rediscovering my interest in art and drawing, which I felt that I had lost at the time. So it's sort of multi-stranded and just a bit of a love letter to the country, really, because I had such a wonderful time there.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then I'm going to go over another graphic novel before I'm going to ask like where can listeners pick these up. The other graphic novel that you wrote is called, correct me if I'm wrong, Breakwater. Again, this was Avery Hills Publishing 2020, and this was a New York Times top 10 graphic novel for, of course, in 2020. What is Breakwater about?
Um, Breakwater was my first fiction book, and it's about two people that become friends while working a sort of very low stakes customer service job in a cinema in Brighton. And I set it in a cinema that I worked in when I was 18 years old for a year. And it was a beautiful old Art Deco crumbling cinema building on the seafront in Brighton. And it's just about their friendship. They kind of gradually become friends, and they're a little bit of a sort of everyone that works in this place is a little bit of an outsider or a misfit, and they
Hmm.
don't really know. They're drifting through life. And then it turns out one of the characters is starting to have some real mental health struggles, and that impacts their friendship. Um, yeah, that's broadly what it's about.
So okay, because I'm going to say now, just for you talking about the story about Breakwater, because I'm going to be, I'm very, I'm being very honest about this because I want to pick that up. And for listeners, if they're interested in picking up like either Follow Me In, Breakwater, or even your cat scene, where can listeners pick up, some of your works, your previous works?
Well, Avery Hill books we do have American distribution. So if you're in the US, you should be able to order those books from any bookstore.
Okay.
Avery Hill have an online shop, and so all the books are available there. And we have a distributor in America, so the shipping isn't super expensive. It's not coming from the UK.
Hmm.
The cat zines are just self-published by me, and they are available to buy online. I've got an Etsy shop. If you search for my name on Etsy, you can find them there. And I've got digital editions, so you can get them very cheaply as well.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say, yeah, Breakwater sounds like a it sounds like a real nice slice of life story that it it sounds very good. I'm being very honest. It sounds really nice.
That's good
Okay.
to hear.
All right. Did I miss anything, or is there anything else you want to add for listeners to check out?
Um, no, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, my the work that I do in publishing for Avery Hill takes up a lot of my time. So when I have to fit in my creative work, my comics making around that. So this last book took sort of 4 years, I think, overall.
Hmm.
So it's just a case of I work on little bits and pieces as and when I can. But yeah, I'm very happy to have even had 3 books come out. It's not something I really knew if I could do when I was younger, but it was a bit of a dream. So I'm very happy to have reached this point.
Oh, okay, no, but thank you. Now, listeners, before I continue, I want to give a very big shout out to Tucker Stone. Now, Tucker is the executive director of communications and marketing at Fantagraphics. Tucker, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes and setting up this interview. Katrina, I'm going to ask, would you like to add anything to what I just said?
Oh no, just I'm very grateful for everyone at Fantagraphics that I've worked with. And actually, I listened to an interview between Tucker and a brilliant book publicist, Gina Gagliano, who's an American that I now work with. She's a colleague of mine at Avery Hill. And when I was learning how to do book marketing, I listened to a podcast that was an interview between those 2 people, Tucker and Gina. And so it seems to have come full circle now that I'm working with Gina and also with Tucker on my own book. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, very grateful to him.
No, well, that's pretty cool. That's really nice. Um, all right, so um, um, you touched a little bit on your website. So where can listeners follow you on social media and I get, like promote your website too?
Yeah, I've got a website. It's just my name, katrinachapman.com, and I'm mostly active on Instagram, Katrina Chapman there.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then the YouTube as well, which I think if you just search my name on any of those platforms, you'll find me.
And then I'm sorry, Katrina, I'm gonna just jump right in. So listeners, Katrina's she spells her first name is K-A-T as in Tom R-I-O-N-A. So that's how she so
Yes.
that's how she
Thank you for mentioning
yeah,
that.
yes,
It's
yes.
it's a strange spelling.
No,
It's a Scottish spelling of my name. That's why
no,
it's got a southern letter in it.
it's okay. No, that's no problem. Yeah. So that's no problem. All right. So let's talk about the past. Now, or the past. I'm sorry, the past, not the past. The past. Now, um, now I don't know if this praise is for this book, but I got it off the New York Times book review. There's 2 reviews I'm going to talk about. So, quote, Chapman is a London-based illustrator whose stories are informed by mixed emotions and tough choices. I'm going to say for this book, The Pass, that's perfect for this. It really,
Yes,
it's
yeah.
very
I think
good.
that was written about breakwater, but as you say, it's really fitting for this book as well.
It is. Now also to now for Publishers Weekly, now they have um a quote for this for your current book. Chapman's graceful art, mute color scheme, and focus on character development serve for storytelling. It adds up to be a kinder, gentler, but no less probing graphic novel riff on the bear. Now, listeners, when they mention the bear, it's that the FX series, the bear that focuses on restaurants. Now, I haven't watched it. I've heard it's very good. I
Mm.
have to check that out. Do you want to
Yeah,
comment on anything on that or?
sure. Yeah, it is a very good show, but I had actually written my book before the show came out,
Mhm.
by about 3 months, I think. So I was kind of expecting that people would comment and think that I was inspired by the show, where in fact I had finished writing my book. I tend to work by writing a written version of the script before I do any of the artwork. So
Mhm.
I had written that 4 years ago, and it took me 4 years to do the artwork. So yeah, even though the bear's been out for a little while now, it came out after, but I absolutely love it. It is very, very good.
Mhm. But I'm going to say now just what I've read about the show The Bear, seen just clips of it. Um, but your book, The Pass, it's really it- it's um it's very two very different stories of how people run restaurants. I just want to make
Mm.
that very clear. You know, um, you know. because there's no yelling, there's no like, oh my God, we have to get, what's going on? It's not
Yeah.
that. It's a this is where I'm going to ask you because I don't want to step on your toes on this, but I'm going to start off with what is the story about?
Okay, it's about three people who are sort of in business together. They're working in this very small London restaurant. They're trying to make a success of it. And they are quite good friends as well. So it's a little friendship group.
Hmm.
It's two chefs and the guy who works behind the bar and does amazing cocktails for the restaurant.
Hmm.
And it's sort of just asking questions about what do these, it's very, my work is always very character sort of based. So it's looking in depth at these characters. What do they want out of life? What are their struggles? And a restaurant is a very high pressure environment. It's exhausting work and it's hard to make a business success of a restaurant. And so it's looking at how they're coping. You obviously get a lot of satisfaction out of work and
Hmm.
ambition and being successful, but at the same time, it can come at a personal cost. So it's sort of looking at that as well. Like, how can you be happy if you're working that hard? And then how do you prioritize things? If you're successful, is it necessarily
Hmm.
what you thought it would be? All these questions about work and life.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, but like you say, it's the three characters now. Um, I know I'm kind of jumping around just a little bit. Um, you have Claudia. Claudia is your main character. Lisa
Hmm.
is her friend, and is is it? I think yeah. Ben is the third person, right? He's the
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's right. And
But
then
then
there's lots of peripheral characters around
yes,
the edges as well.
oh yeah. And but the thing about it is Claudia, your main character. Um, Now, correct me if she's the owner, she's the one that runs she's the owner of the restaurant. But the thing is that she lives in the shadow of someone you want to talk about that a little bit more? She lives in the shadow of
Yeah.
her father.
Yes, thanks for reminding me to bring that up. She has a sort of very successful chef for a father, and I think anyone that goes into the same line of work as a successful parent has a lot of sort of psychological stuff to deal with and a lot to prove. So she's sort of struggling with that as well and trying to do everything on her own as much as she can, but at the same time, her family are very invested in her career too and
Yes.
trying to sort of they think trying to help her. So yeah, that's another struggle that's going on as well.
Yes. Um, I'm gonna go come back to like how did like how much research did you do for the story? Such as like do you have someone that runs a restaurant or did you talk to people or like because I know there's I think one page where Claudia goes to goes marketing at for fresh produce at an open market. That was a lovely scene. I'm sorry, I know, but
Oh,
how much research did you do, you know?
yeah. I had always been a fan of programs and documentaries about chefs and restaurants. So I've always watched things like Chef's Table, which I think is a Netflix series, which is looks at chefs in all different corners of the world and how they work. And I've always enjoyed the writing of Anthony Bourdain. I've read all his books about what it was like in his particular niche of sort of restaurant work, which is a little bit more like The Bear, like you were saying, a lot of
Mhm.
screaming, a really macho kind of environment. But specifically for this, I wanted to find something. I didn't really interview anyone. I thought I might need to, but then I came across a really good documentary on YouTube, which was called A Day in the Life of a Michelin Star Chef. And it was on a channel called About to Eat.
Hmm.
And it just was a beautifully made documentary of just filming this very small, similar to the one I was setting
Yes.
my story in a very small little restaurant, but just showing you literally hour by hour through the week what their time is spent on and when things happen. And that was really useful to me.
No, but
And in terms of the markets, I was happy that you brought that up because markets are just food markets are something that I love personally, and then it's become my favorite thing to do if I'm ever traveling is to go and visit produce markets in wherever location I'm in. So that just came from a bit of a personal sort of passion.
oh,
Um,
hmm
I particularly love to see seafood markets for some reason. It's just the colors and the shapes and
Yes.
everything
Hmm.
is so kind of it's like sensory overload. So that's why I put that scene in the book
Yeah.
based on sort of personal experience.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm going to jumping a little bit of ahead. I know I'm going to ask you questions about your video blogs a little bit later in the interview. Um, I know you posted some of your video blogs showing your cooking and baking skills. I saw the one about the mango pie video. It looks like, you're having fun doing that. How much do you love cooking?
Yeah, I definitely love cooking, but I haven't always. I had a personal journey with food where, I mean, I don't think the UK has a great sort of food tradition as such. There are parts of the world where there's more of an established kind of food culture. So I grew up not having much interest in food at all. To me, food was just, you just needed it as
Hmm.
fuel to get through the day. But I think it was when I met my partner, who's from Mexico, where I would argue there is a great food culture there. And he was a great cook. He is a great cook. So
Hmm.
he's kind of informed my love of food, and I've become a good cook thanks to him and sort of learning myself.
Hmm.
And I'm a little bit obsessive. I think that's where what I put into the character of Claudia in the book, in that if
Hmm.
I get into something, I get really into it. So I've learned a lot about food and baking and cooking over the years, and it's definitely something that I love to do.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. Um, I'm gonna go back to your characters. And basically and please feel free to add this because while reading the past, I love how you have the three main characters in different stages of the relationship. And please feel free to correct me or comment, but I love Claudia because she's kind of a loner. You know,
Hmm.
um and also Lisa, she's married, she has a family, um, and literally she's trying to balance work and her family life. And also too, I know her husband Thomas is having some medical issues too. So she's
Hmm.
trying to juggle all of that you know,
Yeah.
and you know, and also too, and this one, please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, Ben, it seems like he's in a sort of a good relationship with his parents, but I kind of, I don't want to spoil anything, but when we first meet him, it seems like he has a good relationship with them. But
Hmm.
but when we learn a little bit later on, things are not too much. But like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. But do you
Yeah.
add anything to that?
Yeah, I think my books are kind of tricky to talk about because if you talk about any of the sort of big plot points, you sort of give everything away. But
Yes. Hmm.
yeah, definitely there's definitely a lot of tensions between the characters and their sort of families. I wanted to, I've never written a character that was, a parent, so I was really happy to do that with Lisa in this story, and think about, yeah, as you say, these everyone's in a slightly different stage of life,
Hmm.
and you get to see how that affects how they interact with people
Yes.
and the particular tensions that they're dealing with in their lives. And I was interested in the idea of the two brothers as well because we Claudia has a brother and
Yes.
Lisa has a brother,
Yeah.
and they're both of them a little bit like the black sheep of their
Yes.
families. They're not
Hmm.
as successful as their siblings. And so I thought that was an interesting contrast between those two brothers and what their relationships with their sisters are like.
Um, you talk about that, you know, I- the thing I really love about this book is that how you took the time, and this is for me as a reader, to get to know the characters, get to know them individually and also in the relationship with each other too. It's really
Mm.
nice. And I'm going off the cuff here because I remember, I think in the first, I'm guessing right now, maybe in the first 20 pages after they've like, we see them working in the restaurant during the day. It's always kind of nice that literally at the end of the day, they sit down at they close, they sit down, they just have a drink to decompress, and then
Hmm.
everyone goes home. They talk about stuff, and that's
Yeah.
great. I love it. That's
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I thought that would be really nice to see. They have a little courtyard space at the back of the theatre, and they often sit
yes,
out there to have their drink. And I think with this kind of high pressure work, you need a bit of decompression time after
yes,
your shift is finished. And it's part of the closeness of those three people is that they go through this hard work together, and then they have the moments of recovery together as well. Yeah, and someone said that to me about Breakwater was that they really enjoyed the way that the I really slowly showed the friendship of the two main characters building because I really wanted to capture that. You
hmm
know, if you work with someone, sometimes a friendship will develop, but it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a
yes,
slow thing. And I'm really interested in little small moments of life because life is made up of small moments. I don't
yes.
feel like every story has to be made up of huge, massive kind of plot developments all the time. I like little quiet moments and they add up to a
Mhm.
picture of this life, I guess, that these characters are living.
Yes, because again, I'm going to go back. I love how you took the time to build these relationships, and then it's up until page 81. Before we see the, um, before we see, like Claudia's like life-changing event, and like I said, it's not a major life-changing event, but like I said, I'm trying not to spoil it, but
Yeah,
but
it's
because it's
tricky.
also another piece where it adds into a little bit more of the stress later on in the story. But I
Mm.
just love how you took that time, you know,
Oh, thank you.
you know. Um, and then again, I'm going off the cuff, and I know, and like I said, I'm going back to that first scene where we see three of them decompressed, and like I said, I know this is kind of hard, but and to the audience, but I love the scene where you drew them where it was kind of like they're not up close, but it's not a long shot. It's almost like a medium shot. You can see them
Mm,
sitting at the table. You can see a little bit of the bar, the restaurant, but it's just nice that it's we're the outsiders kind of peeking in, like just kind of like,
mm.
oh yeah, look, there's friends just talking, you know,
Yeah, I think I know the page that you mean. It's
you know.
yeah, I like that idea. I like to create a space for the story, an environment that feels real and that you feel you're being drawn into it. And I like that idea of the sort of behind the scenes and being able to peek into you're sort of looking into these characters' lives and you have the sort of public facing work that they do talking to customers and things and then you have the behind the scenes when they've closed and they have these more intimate sort of moments between them so I'm glad that that page came across like that. I was looking for ways to show how close they are as a
Hmm.
group and I think that was one of the pages where I was trying to do that because they're all sort of hunched together over the
Yes,
table and it's dark.
that's right. Yeah, they're all hunched over. It's not like, yes, we're professionals. We, like you said, it's not like that professionalism they have to show to customers every day. It's just like
Mm,
clothes. Yes, we're all tired. Yes, and it's
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. Um, the other thing I want to comment on too, I love how the dialogue flows. It feels very natural.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
the thing I loved about it too. All throughout the book, I loved it.
That's lovely. It's what writing dialogue is. I really, really enjoy it. And it's when as I said, I started as an illustrator and I was quite confident with creating the visual
Hmm.
element of comics, but I didn't consider myself a writer. And so I felt less confident with the writing side and the words. And it was quite fun to discover that I quite enjoyed writing dialogue. And I had that moment of realizing I have to make it sound natural. Like when friends talk to each other, they
Yes.
don't sort of say, hello, how are you? They have
Yeah.
more of a banter and they have their own little in jokes and their little,
Hmm.
phrases they might use. And I like trying to show that and then contrasting with how you might speak to your parents or to a customer. It's
Yeah.
always going to be a little bit different.
So I'm gonna start I'm gonna sorry I'm gonna start asking other questions like how did you come up with the title The Pass?
Oh, yeah. Well, in professional restaurants, the pass is a physical part of the restaurant. It's often like a sort of counter where the cooked food is passed from the cooking staff to the serving staff. And it's called the pass. I'm not entirely sure. I guess it's being passed
Hmm.
from one department to the
Oh,
other.
yes.
Um, I love that. That's the idea again of the public space in the restaurant and the sort of behind the scenes space. And
Yes.
it's that little bit in between. Um, and because my book is sort of about the public sides of people and the private sides of people, I thought that was a really interesting kind of idea. But
Yes.
yeah, I
Mhm.
just like that idea of the past being that space in between the backstage bit and the front part of the business.
Oh, that's so nice. That is so nice. Um, Now for listeners, like I'm going to ask you because I love the arts. I love the art style in the book. I love the colors. I really do. The art, what I love about um your artwork in the book um is how do I put it? It's because there is a scene where I think it's midway through the book. Claudia, I know Claudia, Lisa, and oh yeah, I'm just trying to oh shoot, yes, Lisa and Ben, they're leaving the restaurant. It's already nighttime. They're closing up. I love it where I think Lisa accidentally drops her keys on the ground. The thing I love
Hmm.
about your artwork is it's you give enough detail to show what it is. It's not too detailed, but
Mm.
it's very beautiful. It's very nice, and I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of I think I know what you mean. I think my artwork is fairly realistic, but it's not overly detailed
Yes.
because yeah, I think I try and have that balance. It's definitely not cartoonish, but at the same
Mhm.
time, I like to draw faces and things fairly simple so that you can really read what's happening, you
Yes.
know, on the characters' expressions and things. So yeah, I think so. And for this book, I hadn't. This is a sort of digital um, artwork, and I hadn't used this particular method before. I drew it in Procreate on the iPad, which is the drawing program that's made for the iPad. And so I was sort of learning how to use it when I started this book, and I had to develop a style that would work.
Wow.
And I was interested to use the sort of paintbrush tools, which was something I hadn't done before. So
Mhm.
I had to do lots of experimenting to see how it was going to work.
Mhm.
Because my previous book, Breakwater, was black and white, so there was no color. So I
Oh.
felt like I was really kind of developing a new style for this book. I don't think it looks massively different to what I've done before, but yeah, it's definitely it looks like painting, but it's all digital. Which is essential from just me being able to finish because I think if I was using actual paint, it would just
Mhm.
take so long.
Mhm.
It would be crazy.
And then also to um talk about the colors because I love the colors because I know going back to um Publisher Weekly, it said um they talked about the muted color scheme. It's I love it. It's great, you
Oh,
know.
thank you. Yeah, I like using the color as another storytelling
Hmm.
aspect. So I like the color to tell you something about what the scene. Um, Definitely mood and atmosphere and things. I like
Yes.
to
Hmm.
have contrasts. Like one example would be at one point you get to see the characters' sort of family homes. They go back home for Christmas,
Yes.
and Claudia's parents' home is very kind of austere and it's all pale and white, and it's sort of they're quite well off. They're quite
Yes.
rich. So it's all very tasteful, but it's not very warm or colorful. And then
Yes. Hmm.
you see Claudia's home where it's a family and there's a child and it's lots of color and
Hmm.
warmth. So I use color like that to try and tell you something more about the characters.
Oh, okay. I want to comment on this. Again, I'm going back to your art style. I love the attention. Of course, I mentioned the attention, details in the restaurant. What I love is there are some key moments of, I guess, like the acting in your characters that makes them feel real, and it goes again with your character. How you love to write about characters. The scene. the one scene I love is on page 122. Now, listeners, this is where after Claudia has this big discussion with her parents, especially with her dad, who's a famous chef, and now Claudia is in her own home in her living room. I love it how, you see, there's no, if I remember correctly, there's no dialogue in these scenes where, she sits down on her couch, her head is turned left. I can't remember if she's facing the windows with her chin in her hand, um, like she's contemplating stuff. And it's almost like, to me, like it seems like she got the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Mhm.
You know, I
Yeah.
I just love that scene.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Yeah, I think of it as acting as well when I'm drawing these scenes. And I did work, I had a part-time job in a theatre for about 18 years. I worked
Hmm.
just evenings in a theatre and I watched a lot of acting on the stage. And I think I took a lot away from that of observing how people use, body language
Hmm.
and facial expressions to convey what's happening inside the character. So I definitely bring some of that into it. As you say, I wanted it to seem like she was really processing that previous meeting with her father
Hmm.
and thinking about what to do going forward. So she is, yeah, deep in thought. And so that's something I really enjoy is thinking, how shall I show what's happening inside this character at this moment?
And it's great. Again, I just love it's a quiet moment. There's no like no bubble thoughts, no word balloons were going, I wonder what I should do. No, it's just
Mm.
you can just see it right there. There's no words that needs to explain what's going on in her mind. Like I
Oh,
said, that's
thank
just
you. I'm glad it comes across.
all right. Katrina, I'm sorry, I'm gonna continue moving on. Um, I'm gonna ask, would you like to give a shout out to the rest of your creative team on this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had Conrad Groth from Fantagraphics editing the book, who was brilliant, and he gave me a couple of really key bits of feedback early on about the story because I showed it to him in different stages, and he had some really good editorial suggestions
Mhm.
for me. And also Kayla E designed the book, who I didn't know about her work until we she was working on this book, and we were emailing back and forth about the design of the book, and I noticed that in her email sort of signature, it said that she had a Fantagraphics book out soon as well. And I thought, oh, I've got to see what it is. And I
Mhm.
Googled it. It turned out to be Precious Rubbish, which has become hugely
Mhm.
successful. And I bought a copy here in London, and it's just a fantastic book. So I was so pleased that I had a chance to sort of I've not met her in person, but
Mhm.
hopefully one day. But yeah, they've both done amazing work on this book. It's been great.
And then now there's a section in the book, I can't remember if it was the beginning or the end. Like I said, I'm sorry if there's a you put that there's I guess like a dedication for Emily. May I ask who Emily
Yeah.
is?
Emily's my mum. So
Oh,
it's just a little shout out to her.
oh,
She's always been very supportive, and she's an artist. So she's always been very keen to sort of see me do well with my drawing and stuff. So yeah, that was just for her.
okay. No, but thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you. All right. Last question about the past before I start asking about other questions about your vlog. So, what was one thing or two things that you love working on this book?
I think I think it's what we touched on a little earlier was the fact that my previous book was black and white,
Hmm.
and that I really enjoyed going back to color for this book.
Hmm.
And the fact that I had to sort of come up with this digital painting style, which I hadn't done before. So I just really, really enjoyed that process, being able to use color again. Because although with Breakwater, it's quite moody and atmospheric in the black and white, and I use lots of, dramatic shadows and lighting. I do enjoy that.
Hmm.
I really love working in color, so that was my favorite thing about this book was going back to color.
No, okay, thank you. All right, now I'm going to ask you, please promote your vlog. Like, how long have you been doing these?
Yeah. Um, I th- I mean about 7 years, I think I've been doing what I would call my vlogs on YouTube, but I have been posting little bits and pieces of video over quite a long period, over a decade, I think. But
Hmm.
it just was a little hobby that I started. I had a friend who had quite a successful YouTube podcast
Hmm.
where she would just do sort of stuff, life updates and creativity and work, and she would show what she was working on. And I started doing similar things to that, but my vlogs are very much just a hobby and have changed focus a little bit over the years. As you
Hmm.
said, I've done some food ones.
Yes.
Just recently, I've done a lot that's more to do with travel and hiking, which is my newest hobby. So,
Yes. You know, because I because as I meant, I think this is before we started recording because I watched one of your travel ones, and I think this is the ones where I think you're just I can't it seemed I think you're walking around your town area. It's almost like one of those, hey, I'm off today. We're gonna head down here. We're gonna go on you know the you know the subway or the rail, to get to there, and
mhm.
you know um you know one of the things I love about your actually two things I love about that your vlogs is that like you said, it's a hobby. You're not doing it you're not giving that social influencer vibe like, oh my God, you have to check out this place. This is so, and it's not, it's just,
Yeah.
that's one thing is that it doesn't give that, social influencer vibe. The other thing I love about it is you're doing it, your voice, and you're doing it's a nice, tranquil vibe to it. You're walking around here.
Oh,
This is
nice.
where this is where we do. You give a little bit of background on the building, and okay, yeah, we're gonna walk down here, and I just it's just I love it. It's again, it's just it's a nice tranquil vibe to them. That's what I love it.
Oh, thank you. It's something I also love to watch. I love watching YouTube, and I love when I find someone whose videos I like that's in a different part of the world. I just love seeing what life is like there,
Hmm.
what the streets are like, what the buildings are like,
Yes,
things like
yeah.
that. Just daily life. I
Hmm.
guess it's similar to what I was saying about my work. I enjoy these sort of small moments of life. I like to watch people making videos just about what they're up to in their lives in their different parts of the world. So I guess that's what I'm doing as well.
But I think, like you said, the key thing that you said is that it's just that small moment of life, that quiet moment of life. Because um, the video I watched, it was just like, I'm off today. I'm gonna go down and walk around this part of the town, and I just want to show viewers who are following me, yeah, this and this is this, and it you know and that's really nice that you just share those quiet moments, with the viewers.
That's really nice. I love taking photos as well, and I think something that comes plays into it a little bit is that I have a really poor memory. I'm not good at remembering details of things. So if I do go on a day out like that or go for a hike or something, I
Mhm.
take a lot of photos and I film a lot of video because I want to be able to look back and remember it. And when I make these little videos, it's almost like a little diary. I can look back and go, oh, what was that walk like that I did in Scotland or something, and I can really remember it.
Oh, that no, but that's no, but that's yeah, but that's a very good point. Um, I'm sorry, I'm gonna start wrapping things up.
Sure.
Um, what was one of your favorite comic book convention or comic fest moments?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I would probably say I got to go to SPX, the Small Press Expo in Maryland, in 2022, and that was so exciting for me. I had never done a convention in America before, and I got to meet so many people that I knew from just online and from Instagram. You follow other artists and you chat to them and things, but to actually get to meet people that you sometimes you've had a little online friendship for years, but you've never met. So
Yeah.
that was super nice. And I also got to meet Gary Groth, the big boss of Fantagraphics, who
Oh, that's good.
never imagined. I read Fantagraphics comics when I was a teenager and
Mhm.
loved them, and I never imagined I would have a book out with them. So that was like a bit of a dream come true.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. Now, what is your comic book convention or comic festival schedule like for this year? And
Yeah. Actually, I just found out today I had a trip to Paris booked in for next week because there's a French edition of The Past coming out, but I've just found out
oh,
the trip's been cancelled,
oh,
which is really, really disappointing. But it's kind of okay. It can be tricky going to do an event in a place where you're not really known
hmm
because you can sit at a table and no one, comes to get the book signed or
Yes,
whatever. So
yeah.
it's always a struggle, and I was a bit scared to do it. I did an event in France once before that was nice, but as they say, not many people there know my work yet. So in a way, I'm kind of relieved I don't have to go. But I'll definitely try and do Thought Bubble in the UK, which is a
Yes.
really big festival in the autumn. Brilliant festival. And sometimes there's little small London ones. There's one quite local to me called the South London Comic and Zine Fair. Really
Mhm.
small, but it's, a short bus ride from where I live. So I'd love to do that one. I'd love to do another one in the States, but nothing is sort of confirmed yet.
Okay. Now, have you and your partner been to Hawaii?
Oh, good question. I haven't. I would absolutely love to because for some reason I'm not sure why I love tropical sort of environments. Um, a lot of my fellow English folk don't get along with hot environments very well, but I
Mhm.
love it. And I spent all that time in. I actually that trip I mentioned when I wrote the book about Mexico, I
Yes.
traveled as far as Panama on that trip. That bit
Mhm.
wasn't covered in the book that I wrote, but I spent 9 months Central America, Mexico.
Wow. Mhm.
Just absolutely love that environment. So Hawaii would be incredible. Maybe one day I'll get
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Really nice food as well. I'd love to
Yes.
sample.
Any closing words to our listeners?
Um, Not really, except that I hope you try reading my book and I hope you enjoy it if you do.
So, Katrina, mahalo. Thank you in Hawaiian. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview you. Just thank you very much for making comics. I love this book. The past is very good. And I'm going to be
So
honest with you. I am going to order Breakwater because that
oh,
sounds like a
brilliant.
very good book.
I'm
Okay.
sure if you like this one, you'll like that one as well.
Now, I want to wish you all the success with the pass. Um, I'm gonna now this part is for the for I'm gonna also mention, for you know, to our listeners. Now, listeners, if you are a new comic book reader or a lifelong comic book reader, please check out Katrina Chapman's latest book, The Past. Now, this book is from Fantagraphics. It's coming out on January 20th. Um, like I said, when this interview goes up, it's probably already out in bookshelves. Um, you know, as I mentioned to Katrina several times, I love this book. It's a nice slice of life book of three friends going through their struggles in their lives. It's beautifully drawn. I love the color schemes. It's very good. So listeners, again, if you get a chance, please check out The Pass. And also to listeners, please consider picking up a copy for a comic book friend or a family member, who loves these nice, quiet slice of life stories, and present it to them as a gift. Like I said, it's very good. It's again, it's about three, and Katrina jumped right in too. It's three friends, they have their different lives. They're working in this restaurant, and it's just how it's just again it's how they deal with work, how they are at work, how they deal with their families, how they interact with each other. It's a very good story. um I don't want to say too much because Katrina, we know that if we give a little bit too much, we kind of sort of spoil the story. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I want to give a big mahalo to Tucker Stone of Fantagraphics. Tucker, thank you very much for asking us at Comics for Fun and Profit to do this interview. And again, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. I want to thank Drew, the host of Comics for Fun and Profit, for putting this episode together. Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. And if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys, aloha.
Aloha from me. Thank you for talking to me, Jason.
Oh